This guy is running around telling people that you can't go without this. He can do this and he can teach you. Talks about things like how he went from $3 million to 11,000 doors or 13,000 doors. And this kind of stuff is just super vague. Saying that you went from 3 million to 11,000 doors is kind of like double talk. Anybody that's been watching Brandon Turner for a long time knows that he was a mediocre investor, had just a few investments, and then he was doing the podcast on the BiggerPockets for about 5 years where he interviewed other people. Then he made some sort of deal, I think, with Open Door Capital, where many people are extremely disappointed. You can go in there, you can read it on Reddit, you can read about it didn't make their expectations. According to people that have written in there, they're 40% short of their projections. Let's take a look at this.
Starbucks offers a tall, grande, and a venti just so you don't compare it to 7-Eleven's dollar coffee. So if I'm talking to a seller, I just give them a couple options. I could pay $300,000 for your house. As is, I can close next week, all cash, or I can pay $320,000. But for that extra $20,000, I want you to include all the furniture in the house, and it's gonna take me another month to close.
So he's making the point about sending out, two different offers, and that's not bad. It's always a good idea. This is kind of standard. You make two offers so they choose between one or the other. That's fine. But demonstrate that you've done it. Show the actual real estate that you've done. Now, I'm not making that comparison just on this, but these are the kinds of things that fake gurus do. They talk about things, what you should do, but they don't actually demonstrate that they've ever done it. Let's watch this.
So then the seller's like, which one do I want? I don't care which one. That literally doesn't matter. I gave them like two scenarios that I'd be happy with either way, and they're trying to figure out which one they want. They're not thinking yes, no, they're thinking which one.
And that's actually not bad advice, but show that you've done it. It's easy to plagiarize other people's things, what other people have done, but it's completely different when you're acting that you're reflecting on experience. I'm not saying that he's never done that, but what I'm saying is this is a guy that he'll say he went from $3 million in real estate to $1 billion or 300 million. You know what I mean?
How would I invest in real estate right now in 2024? If I was flipping houses, I would not use debt.
Guess what? That's how most fake gurus do it. They use other people's money. How many people invested in Open Door that fell short of their projections? That's his strategy. That's probably his number one strategy. Use other people's money. It's Grant Cardone's strategy. It's Chris Crone's strategy.
The house I just bought down in Florida, I chose Florida because I wanted somewhere that I could take. It's for my son Wilder, so I have a strategy I did for my daughter. Now I'm doing it for my son, and I'll do it for my third kid. Basically, I buy them a property and put it on a 15-year mortgage when they're young, and that way it's paid out by the time they go to college.
Yeah, I understand that one too.
Then I bought a duplex. And not that I didn't even know what house hacking was, like that word wasn't even invented yet, but I just bought a duplex thinking, well, I can live in one unit and rent the other one out. And sure enough, I remember my tenant bringing me $650 in cash the first day. My mortgage was gonna be like $620.
That's the most common dream. That all the way back to the 80s. I mean, just kind of common sense thing. Yeah, buy one side, rent out the other. In fact, I can tell you, I seen a time when times were so bad, when real estate was so bad, it was cheaper to buy than to rent. Cheaper to buy than to rent. They didn't qualify to buy the duplex, but if they bought a second duplex, they qualified because the income that was coming in from the second duplex took them over that they could actually afford to get both. In other words, they got to have income from the second one that it took them over because they had kind of a piss poor job. It actually put them into the stratosphere for doing it. This is what I want to see. I want to see what I show people, right? I show people the actual assets that I bought. I say, look, see all these blue dots? I bought all these. I negotiated them. I made the deal. I made all the money. This is what the kind of experience you're looking for. You know what? The number one thing I can tell you, people come to me because I'm a mentor, right? I've only been mentoring for 3.5 years. But do I have success stories? Yeah, I got a bunch of them. I got many millionaires in my class, multi-millionaires in my class. They've done it in the last 3.5 years. Some have made only a couple $100,000. I say only because that's small in comparison to what some of the others have done. Now, some have made less than that, 10,000. This is real stuff. These are real people that you see right here. Back in 1980s, in the 1980s, I was a millionaire when I was 27. In like 1989, I was 27, and I was a millionaire. And that's a lot. It's something. And that's the kind of experience you need, because what I see when I see Brandon talk about is he's also promoting other people all the time. I'm competing with other people. Why would you promote other people? This is kind of the fake guru game. They don't have credibility for actual showing the stuff that they've done. And they have a saying, they say those that can't do, teach. And that is mostly true. I can say it's mostly true because I've seen it over and over again. One of the things that's really different about me is you have access to me. I'm more about quality than quantity. In other words, so many people worry about how many subscribers they have or how many people watch. I'm looking for quality people. I'm looking for people that are smart enough to ask questions, that don't believe, that when they listen to somebody like Brandon say, that sounds ridiculous, that's stupid. There's just so many opportunities out there. And I tell you, it's just the saddest thing when I see guys that are skeptical or jaded, that have money, that have capacity, and they don't utilize it. And it's sad because, I was talking to Manny Koshman not too long ago, and he's a legitimate investor that's done really well. And he's like, he doesn't want to get associated with being the scum, because it's a scummy swamp of fake gurus out there. And I'm telling you, just the brief time that I talked to him, you can tell he's just like, ugh, you know what I mean? But he is a legitimate guy, and he's got some student success too. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating because there's guys that look just like me, younger, older, that have made their money off of students. The students are the money, not the real estate.